Not a great day, Donald. Your administration's facing criminal contempt charges in federal court for defying a judge's order about those El Salvadorian concentration camps. And you've got Bernie Sanders and AOC drawing massive crowds in Idaho, Montana, Salt Lake City, all booing you and chanting, "Tax the rich." Oh, and guess what? Your tariffs are blowing up in your face, tanking the economy. CEOs have zero faith in you, and China's straight up mocking you, posting memes of your tiny fingers, basically saying, "Who's holding the cards now?" And your chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, is on Fox News, practically begging Xi Jinping to give you a call. But I guess, in your twisted reality, that means America's back. America's back, you say, while we're literally staring down one of the worst economic periods in U.S. history, with an even bigger disaster looming. Do you really think people are blind, Donald? Do you think they don't see their life savings shrinking? Don't notice their 401ks tanking? Don't feel the pinch of skyrocketing grocery prices and unaffordable housing? Do you think everyone's got MAGA mush brain and gets their news from state-run propaganda? No, Donald. People are getting their news from places like the American Spotlight on YouTube. We're the most watched news network in the world, Donald. Apologies for that outburst. Let's see what the Financial Times has to say. Are they echoing your America's back mantra, Donald? Nope. I wouldn't exactly call the Financial Times a bastion of radical leftism, would you? Their headline reads, "The Economic Consequences of a Mad King." They go on to say, Trump's delight in doing whatever he wishes in the moment is incompatible with stability and sustained dynamism. Oh, I guess that's your America's back, Donald. I don't think so. Here's what the article actually says. We know that nobody can be trusted with absolute power, least of all the demagogues who seek it. The one good thing Trump's trade policies are achieving is to demonstrate that, yet again. The world's challenge is to survive the folly. The USS is to end it. That's how they're talking about you pathetic, vile excuse for a human being, Donald. I'm not going to mince words about what we think of you here. Zero respect. You deserve none. Not as you send migrants to concentration camps and then falsely claim you won a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling. And then you have Pam Bondi, your Attorney General, have the sheer audacity to say that Abrego Garcia's family is better off without their dad, that his children are better off without their father, that his wife is better off without her husband, a man with no criminal record. You're all a bunch of sick, pathetic. I'll just leave it at that. Here's Pam Bondi, your Attorney General.
Maryland is safer because he is gone, and that woman that he is married to and that child he had with her, they are safer tonight because he is out of our country and sitting in El Salvador where he belongs.
Okay, so we're 72 trading days into the year, Donald. Is this your version of America being great? Because we're now experiencing the 5th worst start to a year in history, only trailing 2001, 9/11, 2020, COVID, and 1932, post-Great Depression. But I guess, according to you and the Labor Department, this is America being great. Photos of masked miners working in coal mines. That's what you want, right? More coal, more of that. How about we get Americans higher-paying jobs? How about we get them working in safe environments? How about we lead the world in cutting-edge technology? How about we help people afford homes, Donald? How about we focus on the things you actually promised, instead of lying about everything? Because you're a fraud in every possible way, and a deranged one at that. And then there's your whining on social media. Can you believe a judge ruled against us? Wow, wow, wow. I'm not even going to read the whole thing because it's just endless whining. I've never seen an adult behave like this, except for you. And just think about how sick and twisted you are. You know by now, Because it's Thursday as I record this, you know that Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro was targeted in an assassination attempt. His residence was set on fire in an arson attack, and the perpetrator had a hammer, intending to kill Shapiro on the first night of Passover. Right? Did Governor Shapiro hear from you? Former President Biden sent his deepest condolences. But here's the news. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro says he hasn't heard from Trump since the arson attack. The White House, predictably, didn't respond to requests for comment. How hard is it, Donald, to show a shred of sympathy or empathy? But you can't, because you're a deranged, demented maniac. Suffering is the point. Here's what you said on Air Force One a few days ago when asked about the assassination attempt. So, you're aware of what happened, but you just don't care because you're a crappy human being. We have to accept that. You are a truly crappy human being. Here's the clip.
Mr. President, do you have any reaction to the governor of Pennsylvania? His mansion was set on fire. Do you have any reaction?
I just heard about it. No, I have to look into it.
You got the perfect health report. Everybody in the press wants to know this. How do you do it, Mr. President?
Yes, this same crappy human being is denying federal funding for Hurricane Helene relief in North Carolina. He's denying aid for debris removal. He's also denying FEMA assistance to Georgia for debris clearing. I mean, who does that? Trump does. And while he and Musk are busy with their gold card scheme, trying to sell it for $5 million to Russian and Chinese oligarchs, they're ignoring real human suffering. These are truly deranged individuals. And by the way, have you heard Trump say a word about the 2 service members killed in a vehicle accident near the U.S.-Mexico border and the 3rd critically injured? These troops, sent to the border on his orders for his performative invasion theater. 2 dead, 1 critically injured, and silence from Trump. Just like his silence about the American soldiers who died in Lithuania. He doesn't care. He has no connection to this country. In fact, his actions show he hates it. Why wouldn't he acknowledge the soldiers who died at the border, the soldiers who died in Lithuania? Because he said that those injured or killed in war are suckers and losers. We know his pathology. He's a sick, demented person, but he's also weak. And here's his regime, with Caroline Leavitt begging China to call him. Here's the clip.
And China knows that too, Sean. And as President Trump directed me to say yesterday, it remains true tonight. The ball is in China's court. They need to do business with the United States. They need the best thing on the face of the planet, and that is the American consumer. And we are the best place in the world to do business. And the rest of the world knows that, and that's why Japan was here today to negotiate a trade deal.
And while all that's going on, you've got Kevin McCarthy, who I sometimes forget just how spineless he is. But I really shouldn't. The disgraced former Speaker of the House goes on Fox News because their current talking point is that the economy's collapse isn't Trump's fault. It's Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's. Apparently, because Powell gave a speech yesterday talking about the economy's state, which, surprise, surprise, is a direct result of Trump's disastrous trade war. So, the Trump regime's new narrative is, it's Powell's fault, and McCarthy's just parroting it. Here's the clip.
Kevin, I want to talk about what Jerome Powell did today. He essentially came out and said that these tariffs, which the Democrats are going to seize on, obviously, that the tariffs are going to, likely to create some type of recession, and that will hurt U.S. growth forecasts going forward, which, obviously the Trump administration thinks the exact opposite about how these tariffs will work. But of course, that sent the market way down. And you can kind of see this little game playing out between Powell and the Trump administration. Do you think the Trump administration needs to come out in a full-throated manner and refute what the Fed chair said today about an issue that is still number 1 on the minds of all voters now and will be on the midterms?
Well, what he said is hurting the economy. The market reacts to what he said. Now, he only has a short amount of time left in this job, and I think there's some excellent people who could take this job going forward. But remember what President Trump has already done if you want to look at pure economics. He's getting people to invest billions of dollars in America because of his policies.
Yeah, their strategy is to do what they did with Dr. Fauci. Blame someone else. They're going after Jerome Powell, trying to pin the economic collapse on him for simply stating the reality of the situation. Remember Trump's COVID strategy? It'll magically disappear. No testing needed. Ignorance is bliss. That's their playbook. So, Powell's honesty is pissing Trump off. And I'll leave you with this. Azealia Banks, a singer, songwriter, and former Trump voter, said this back on November 6, 2024. LMAO, I lied. I voted for Trump yesterday. Now she's saying this. Okay, I think it's time for everyone who voted for Trump to admit that we made an effing mess. Like this is an absolute disaster. He's so petty and vindictive right now, rightfully so, but not when the well-being and livelihood of billions of people damn near the entire world lay in your hands. Someone needs to get him a cute little Lozemprim and a high-grade ashwagandha supplement, because it can't happen like this. Nobody on earth is afraid of crazy old white man anger. Old white men need to reinvent the archetype because it's too predictable. Like China is just dunking on him and everyone right now. That's what they're saying as the U.S. Economic Policy Uncertainty Index hits record highs and $1.5 trillion gets wiped off the market. Trump looks like this, with his orange face, and China's posting memes of him with his chump stubby little fat fingers, mocking him relentlessly. And by the way, Donald, your administration needs to respond to Judge Boasberg, who's found probable cause for criminal contempt for defying court orders. He wants the names of those he'll hold accountable, and he'll likely appoint a special counsel to throw them in jail. That's what's happening. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.